everybody, welcome to Sports Grind Season 2, Episode 17. My name's Tyler Wargo.
And I'm Mickey Perella.
And today we have a lot to talk about. We have obviously the wild card for NFL coming up, so we're going to be talking about Week 17. We'll also be talking about Francisco Linder and his possible trading with the Mets. Mickey will be covering with that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to first start off with Mickey talking about Francisco Linder and the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an emphatic, big trade for the New York Mets. I mean, getting Francisco Lindor.
It's going to help the Mets out a lot. I could see him honestly doing really well this year. World Series maybe?
I mean, alright, so let's just talk about...
They've got to build up a chemistry with
Right, let's just talk about how much Francisco Lindor impacts the Mets on the field and off the field. Let's start with on the field. First with Lindor, you have a really talented player, top 10 player in baseball. Now you stick him in there, where does this bring the Mets? It probably brings them into the conversation for coming out of the National League. They're right there with the Dodgers and the Padres and the Braves.
I think we kind of slept on them this year for doing well, but obviously in years to past we do know the Mets as being a really good team, so obviously adding another huge player onto the Mets franchise is really good.
It's huge. It's really huge. He just makes them better. And off the field, the perception of the Mets being the little brother, the stupid one, like the one that makes all the mistakes, that's done. It's over.
Yeah.
The Mets are going to share New York with the Yankees and maybe even overpass them over time. This is big.
Big things in the Big Apple. We're going to have to find out, obviously, as we have spring training coming up soon. It's already January. It's kind of crazy. We took a nice 2-week break from our show, but we're back, and a lot of things are happening right now in sports, and honestly, keep your eyes out on the Mets.
Yeah, they are. They're going to play this year. They're going to come out really strong, so watch out.
Also, we take it over to NFL Week 17 as we have the Vikings and Lions, as we have the Vikings beating the Lions, but it was a close game, but obviously much respect for Stafford and Peterson. They both tried really hard and they did really well. So, honestly, I think the Lions, what are your thoughts on them for the playoffs?
Well, this year for the Lions, they've been pretty disappointing.
They've been on and off.
I mean, they finished the year 5-11, not good enough. That's why they fired their coach Matt Patricia, fired their GM Bob Quinn. They're going to be going through a rebuild. Don't expect the Lions to be good, and expect Matthew Stafford to be out the door.
Normally we'd be hearing this from the Vikings, because normally their record, they would lose to the Lions. But that was a nice win with Feline and the Vikings.
They did. The Vikings had a decent season at 7-9. Maybe they can add some pieces to get to the playoffs next year.
Maybe. I mean, this is not their year for both teams, but I mean, who knows for the future. Buccaneers also wiped out the Falcons 44-27. Bucs are also looking good for the playoffs, especially going with Brady. He's been doing really well with the Buccaneers. This is his team to be on right now. And also we have Antonio Brown also helping, going with the defense. So the Buccaneers, they're looking good for the playoffs.
They are looking good. They're getting hot at the right time. Finally, they're all clicking on all cylinders now. And right in time for the playoffs. Expect them to be a really good team in the NFC. And as for the Falcons, they're going to be rebuilding.
I honestly think it's going to take a lot of rebuilding for the Falcons because they kind of dropped from seasons of past.
Definitely.
They've all of a sudden doing really bad now. So.
Yeah, they haven't been good since their run to the Super Bowl a couple years back.
So, another upset as the Jets took the L against the Patriots. And obviously Newton making Belichick proud. They won 28-14. Obviously the Patriots, they're not looking good for the playoffs. But, I mean, Patriots, they could build. Jets, they could build as well. I think these are teams that it's going to take time for them to do well.
Definitely. The Patriots went 7-9 this year, which is actually terrible for the Patriots standards.
We've never seen the Patriots play this bad this season.
It's bad for their standards, but hey, they lost Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. So let's chill a little bit. Cam Newton is not the same that he was a couple years ago, and they need to figure out that quarterback situation, and they got to get some more pieces on the offense.
Especially for defense, too. The defense dropped, obviously.
They did.
You've seen no skill, no play type.
I mean, really, the reason why they went 7-9 in the first place is that they have the greatest coach of all time. So they just need to get more players on you. And as for the Jets, my lovable New York Jets, they're not going anywhere. They stink. I mean, they got to decide if Sam Darnold's going to be the quarterback or they're going to draft a quarterback at number 2 overall.
Draft. So I honestly think the Jets draft.
I think they should draft too, but it's going to be a big decision for Joe Douglas and the New York Jets.
Yeah. Bills are also hot on Sunday, dominating the Dolphins 56-26. Dolphins were looking pretty good this season, but obviously last Sunday's game, they were terrible. But the Bills, though, are looking really well. I mean, what else to expect for the playoffs.
I mean, the Bills dropped 56. I mean, that just doesn't happen with this team. I mean, they're just on a hot streak offensively.
I think they're going to go far in the playoffs.
And this is the best Bills team that I've ever seen. I mean, Josh Allen is really just playing well, and their defense and their coach Sean McDermott has been really impressive. I think the Bills are going to give the Chiefs a run for their money. And as for the Dolphins, Tua stunk. Let's just be honest. He stunk.
I mean,
but you know what?
He's still a good player.
Right.
I wouldn't say he's a bad.
No,
he's
he just stunk.
Player, so,
I mean, I know he's a rookie and everything, but he stunk on the way to the playoffs. I mean, they were pretty much in the playoffs. They lost the game, lost out. So the Dolphins have a lot to look up to, but they have to make sure that Tua is the guy, and they have to play better and win more games next year.
I think they should definitely keep Tua on the field because he could definitely improve over time.
Definitely.
So. Steelers are just embarrassing at this point as they lost yet another game, but this is to the Browns. Now the Browns, look at them. Baker Mayfield, where is this coming from? He's playing phenomenal right now for the Browns.
I mean,
and they won that game 24-22. It was a close game, but both are going to make it to the playoffs, and that's great to see for both teams. I
mean, it really is. I mean, Baker Mayfield's playing out of his mind. I mean, it's really good for them. The Steelers almost came back and won, so it's not as emotionally embarrassing as it has been in previous weeks, but the Steelers just have not been the same. They started out the year 11-0. They finished the season 1-4. So what does this mean for their playoff chances? I know they're going to...
Like we said in previous episodes before, Browns are improving, and they are improving quickly too.
They are.
And now this is what the outcome of seeing that is. So Cowboys are also done for as they lost yet again 23-19 against the Giants. Giants playoffs? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think they're going to be a playoff team soon. I mean, they're playing out of their mind right now, and really, Daniel Jones played well. We've seen much
from these teams that started the season off doing really bad, and now we've seen a rise in them, just like the Giants.
The Giants are close, but really, they're close. And as for the Cowboys, they got a lot of decisions to make on Dak Prescott.
They have a lot of decision making to do with the Cowboys. Ravens also put a number on the Bengals going to the wild card series as they won 38-3. Now that was a huge win. Bengals, I mean, maybe next year. Bengals, this was not their year, but the Ravens playoffs. I mean, how far can you go in the playoffs for the Ravens?
The Ravens can actually go pretty far. I mean, they just have to make sure that Lamar actually gets a win under his belt. That's been the monkey on his back.
He's been having trouble lately.
Exactly. He's not been getting those playoff wins. It's been a monkey on his back for the past 3 seasons now. They've got to get that monkey off his back if the Ravens are going to go far. And as for the Bengals, Joe Burrow didn't really play this year because of injury, and I think it's a good thing for the Bengals that you got your franchise quarterback. You just got to get more pieces and get him healthy, and you'll win.
I can agree with you on that. Going with the Colts too, and Phillip Rivers. I mean, they powered through the Jets, winning 28-14. But obviously, the Colts, we have much more to see from them, and we know that they're making it to the playoffs. But how far will they make it to the playoffs? I honestly don't think the Colts are going to make it far. But I think they're going to do decent.
I think the Colts are going to give a team a run for its money. I think it can easily go far, but it's going to depend on the matchup. It's not going to be as easy.
Like I said, the playoffs are going to be really hard this year. A lot of tough teams coming in.
Especially in the AFC, where the worst record is 11-5. I mean, that's just unprecedented for the amount of teams in the division.
I can agree. Texans also came close, but are not making it to the playoffs. But the Titans are, as they won 41-38. Deshaun Watson, this is not his year, but he's definitely an improving player that we see over time. He sometimes gives the Texans a win, but obviously their record this year is not making them go to the playoffs.
Definitely. The Texans have struggled this year. Deshaun Watson's the guy, but he just had no one around him to help him. Hopefully they'll get a new coach in that will help him, get more wins. But as for the Titans, Derrick Henry, man, he ran for over 2,000 yards. That's unprecedented. Only the 8th time in NFL history a running back ran for over 2,000 yards.
A lot of good plays this past Sunday.
I mean,
interceptions too.
Exactly. Derrick Henry, best running back in football. It's not even debatable anymore. He's the best. Move on.
Okay. I can debate with you on that. I mean,
all right.
There's a lot of good running backs.
Oh, you're going to say Kamara, isn't you? Aren't you? Yes, I knew.
Yeah. But Cardinals are making it to the playoffs besides this upset in LA as they lost to Troy Hill and John Wolford. Rams win 18-7. Now, Cardinals losing, where did that come from? Before we were seeing the Cardinals win, but I think they're still going to make it to the playoffs, and I still think they're going to put on a show in the playoffs.
I think that...
I don't think this loss defines them as well.
No, I don't think it defines them. They played really well this year. They just need to get a little bit better on defense, and and Kyler Murray has to get a little bit more experience, and I think that they can go far.
The Rams, though, are set. We're looking to see them do pretty well in the playoffs this year. Saints are also in the wild card series as they took an easy win against the Panthers, 33-7. Kamara is also back. He didn't play last game, but he's back for this Sunday's game against the Bears. So obviously, go Kamara. He came back because they thought he had COVID, and now he doesn't. So he's also back and ready to put more points on the board this Sunday. So
yeah,
I'm hyped to see that. I think the Saints are going to be doing pretty well.
The Saints are going to be ready to roll. I really hope that we get a Saints-Bucks matchup. That would be really insane.
I think the Saints. I feel like the Saints are going to put another number on the Buccaneers.
Really? You think that the Saints just could have destroyed the Bucks? Really?
Well, also when we played the Bucks last time, we didn't have Michael Thomas. And we still destroyed the Bucks. And now we have Michael Thomas. So now that's going to even be better of a matchup.
Definitely.
So Bears are also on the edge as they lost 35-16 to the hungry Packers. Packers are going to go far in the playoffs. They're making moves right now. But obviously for the Bears, what happened to them? They started really good in the season. Now they're terrible. I mean, I've never seen such a worse team. Bad Sunday for the Chiefs as they shockingly lost to the Chargers. But, I mean, Justin Herbert's the man to look at. Pay attention to him.
He is the man to look at.
And it's not only just him, it was also the defense, too. They won 38-21. Mahomes, though, was not in the game, so that was probably why the Chiefs lost. I know the Chiefs are bench warming their guys just to get ready for the playoffs, which is a smart move. So, obviously, the Chiefs, they did a good move right there, and they passionately took the loss.
I definitely agree. I mean, they're fine getting the loss. I mean, they already got the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
It was
no worries
fine.
for Chiefs fans right there.
Exactly. And also, the Chargers, you got a good win in Justin Herbert. You just got to get a coach that won't blow games and maybe make the playoffs this year.
Also, defense, too. Maybe it's sharpen up your defense a little bit. I mean,
definitely.
Obviously, you found it easy to go against, these backup quarterbacks and backup running backs for the Chiefs, but when you face their full team, your defense is going to get crushed against the Chiefs offense. So it's also not the 49ers year as they lost 26-23 to the Seahawks in San Francisco. This is not the 49ers year, obviously, like I just said.
No, too many injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost Jimmy G the whole year. Kittle was out pretty much the whole year. They lost Nick Bosa, their best defender. I mean, those are your 3 best players right there, not playing like almost anything in the season, and you're not going to make the playoffs.
And I think the 49ers can also relate with the Broncos because I know the Broncos have been having hurt players, as the Broncos also lost 32-31. That was a close game against the Raiders, but the Raiders, look out for them in the playoffs this year. But the Broncos, I feel bad for them. They tried so hard, even with all their backups, but they still kept losing those games. But I really think they should deserve a playoff spot, but they didn't make it, so...
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see next year.
Next year. I definitely could see it in them. I mean, once they get their players back. Lastly, we have Washington State football team. They are doing really well. I mean, it's insane.
They won the division.
They've been winning constantly. They're making it to the playoffs now. We did not think that beginning of the season.
No, I mean...
And they came up to the top. The person we got to focus on is Alex Smith and the defense because they've been working so hard and they deserve that 20-14 win. Honestly, beating the Eagles like that and Nick Foles is crazy. And honestly, shout out to the Washington State football team for that.
I'm going to shout them out again. They really played really well this year, considering all they went through. The Alex Smith injury, Ron Rivera getting cancer, the name change, all the sexual allegations against Dan Schneider.
As much as I don't like the team, I do have a lot of respect for what they did. So
I mean, everything just did not go the football team's way, and they went through all of that and won the division over the Giants. And I said earlier that they're going to win the division, and Washington won. So big.
This NFL season has been crazy, and honestly, look out to what's coming this upcoming week in the NFL with the wild card series and everything. But we have NBA coming soon too.
We do.
So basketball we'll be covering next week.
Before we leave, how about we do some wild card predictions? Get some predictions out. All right. Saturday, Colts and the Bills are going to be playing. Who do you think wins the game? I think the Bills.
I gotta say Bills. After the last win, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Seahawks and the Rams. I think the Seahawks will get the dub on this one.
Rams.
Rams? You think the Rams are going to get the
Troy
dub?
Hill. I mean, that's like your defensive man right there.
All right. Buccaneers and the Washington football team. I'm going to go with Tampa Tom on this one. And the Buccaneers.
That's hard. I'm going to go with Washington.
All right, interesting. Ravens and the Titans. I'm going to go Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Bears and the Saints. I think the Saints easy dub.
Saints, yeah. Bears are terrible. They're out. They're out.
And the Browns and the Steelers. I'm going to go the Steelers.
Oh, I'm going the Browns.
You're going Browns?
Yeah.
All right. That's going to be wrap up our wild card matchup and finish review for the closer.
And also, guys, stay tuned. Thank you, Mickey, for all that.
No problem.
NBA next week.
Definitely.
We'll cover that, going with the wild card series. But without further ado, I'm Tyler Wargo.
I'm Mickey Perola.
Thank you guys for watching the Sports Grind Season 2, Episode 17. Bye.